paper I'm discussing today, We Have Never Been Public, Continuity and Change in the Policy Production of the Public in Education in England, co-authored with Martin Mills of Queensland University of Technology, Australia, is part of a forthcoming special issue of the European Education Research Journal on the changing nature of public education in Europe. In his 1993 book, We Have Never Been Modern, Bruno Latour problematized the distinction between nature and science articulated by 18th century modernist thinkers such as Boyle and Hobbes. In this paper, we adopt a similar line in relation to the discourse of public education in England. Specifically, we argue that the public in English public education is more of an artifact of ideologically driven policy production processes than it is, or ever has been, a fully realised reality. In making our arguments, we foreground a historical perspective in order to highlight entanglements of education, politics and society. We can see this entanglement in the recent academisation agenda, removing schools from the control of locally elected councils and bringing them under the direct purview of the Secretary of State for Education. Indeed, so rapid and so radical has this change been that the very nature of public education in England can be said to be in crisis. Yet the ideal of the public has a long history of mobilisation as discourse in response to social, economic and military crises. In pursuing this line of thought, it is important to recognise that the public is not a body or an agent, nor is it the commons or the people. Critically, it's not something that can be simply contrasted with the realm of the private. Rather, we need to recognise how the public is mobilised as a discursive strategy for promoting particular aims and ends, calls that are all the more persuasive since they claim to be the voice of the people. This mobilisation can be traced back to financialised conceptions of the state and its subjects that emerged from the Glorious Revolution of 1688. It can also be traced through such inequality-generating institutions as the anomaly known as the English public, i.e. private school, which has sustained its grip on the English imagination well into the 21st century. The mobilisation of the idea of the public can also be traced through the post-war welfare state with its fantasies of common ownership that served to fortify and rationalise the inequalities it claimed were being opposed. This history can be traced on into the neoliberal reorganisation of education and society, which has led to various developments including pervasive corporate welfare, endless reflexivity in the form of audit, conducted in the name of public value, yet serving as a substitute for meaningful political action, and obsessive concerns with the competitive performance of the national education system in international league tables. This history can also be tracked through the melancholic strains of neoconservatism, with its nationalist-inflected yearning to recover and reinstate the phantasmatically reassuring days when Britain was celebrated, confident and great. As part of this reading, our paper seeks to grapple with the ever-changing nature and context of public education in England through past and present political and economic developments in wider society. And against this background, we also attempt to consider possibilities for the imaginary reconstitution of public education in England in the 21st century.